Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last? I lied. Get off my plane.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
John, I'm not gonna shoot you between the eyes. Shoot you between the balls.
The disease, but I'm the cure.
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. There can be only one.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Yippee-ki-yay. I'm going to kill them all, sir.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Gimme Back My Action Movies, the podcast. I am one of your hosts, Charlie. With me, as always, is Nate. Say hello to the people, Nate.
Hello there.
Hello there, General Kenobi.
Kenobi.
Even though it's not going to sound like it to anyone else listening right now, but we're back. We're back to our regular scheduled recorded episodes.
Gone for a month and you didn't even know it. Fun fact, Charlie.
Go ahead.
I outlived Aaron Carter.
That's cold, dude.
I did. I didn't see that one coming, but I did.
We did make the comment before we took the break that people might die, and just because we're not talking about them topically doesn't mean we're not. And damn it, a lot of people died.
Yeah, a lot died. We go on a break and we accidentally killed 5 people.
That just because you wanted to take a break, Nate, I'm putting all that on your shoulders.
The Kevin Conroy one, that one hurts.
That one
hurt. I didn't mean for
Jason
that one
David
to
Frank
happen.
hurt a lot too. Albert Pune hurt a lot. We just did as you hear this, we'll have just done a tribute to them over on the Action Elite for, Cyborg and Nemesis, all my favorite just action movies that just make no sense, but they're fun. So Nate, we got some visitors here with us tonight.
2 very beautiful people.
Two beautiful people that this has been going on for like 8 months trying to get these two.
Almost happened at one point.
It almost did. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we would like to welcome to the show, after, dealing with their agents and the ridiculous list of demands. You know how hard it is to find white M&Ms, Nate? I mean, they both
1,000
demanded
white M&Ms in a brandy glass.
It was, and I'm going to say
brown
it now.
M&Ms what's his face?
Do you know how you get white M&Ms, though? I sucked all the color off of them and spit them back in the bowl. Yeah, so I hope they enjoyed them. Let's welcome the boys from Spoils of Horror. We have, first up, Steven. Say hello, brother.
What's up? Yeah, the people that you hired to carry me to my seat here, great job.
You're welcome.
Okay, good. Money well spent. Money well spent. And his partner in crime and slime and gooey and everything they do over on the show, Mr. Leo. Say hello, Leo.
I do have one complaint. My throne is not throny enough. I will be writing a letter. But other than that, I'm happy to be here.
Charlie makes them.
Yeah, I paid for the extra gilding, sir. So I will be speaking with the person that made
Gilder?
it and making, gold, gilded in gold. Come on, Nate. Don't start already. We just came back.
I mean, what I love though is both these guys showed up in the shirts that you gave them.
Yes.
Yes.
The audience can't see it, but they are wearing "Give Me Back My Action" horror movie shirts, which is lovely. Yeah. Because 3 weeks ago, Steven shot me and messaged hey, thank you so much for the shirts. I went, what the hell are you talking about?
You got to play that shit off. You got to be yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I did it because it caught me off guard. And then I listened to your Night of the Demons episode. And you give us a big shout out in it of getting the swag. And I was like, yep, we definitely did that as a team.
You're welcome, Nate. That's what co-hosts are supposed to do, but you're supposed to roll with it a little bit better than that.
Nope, not me.
Kayfabe, man. Kayfabe.
Yeah. We'll do a screenshot or something of the recording so everybody can see that before we get done tonight. But yeah, we sent them over some shirts and stuff. They do a ton of work for us. Leo did our commercial, which is being played on all the other shows. If you listen to us, you hear their commercial all the time. We We are huge fans of their show. They say they've heard of us, but we'll see how accurate they've listened to us as this episode goes. So and they are spoils of horror, and this is the action side of the action show. So I was like,
how did this happen?
Okay, so when we tried this 8 months ago, we had a good plan, and honestly, it was a movie I thought was great, and it kind of bridged both, but I still questioned the horror side of bridging it. But we were going to do Toxic Avenger, and a great Tromaville movie. Everyone knows it. It's iconic. And then Steven got mad, ripped all of the internet out of his building,
the entire building.
The entire apartment building. There are other people. He's like, nope, no internet for you. Nope, no internet for you.
25 condos, they all had to be rewired.
Yeah. Charlie said he didn't like one costume, and I was like, nope, not putting up with that.
It was really awkward because it was just us and Leo for like an hour. We wouldn't let him go. We weren't recording an episode anymore.
You guys didn't record that. That was some of our best.
I'm pretty sure
to clarify for your audience, my internet died.
Yeah, it did. It was quite comical because normally we have some issues. It's not, perfect every time we do it. And it was just funny that every once in a while, Steven get ready to, it was when you get ready to talk and then nothing. And so it was like, okay, Leo, why don't you jump in? And then Steven would be back. He'd make a comment. Okay, Steven says that, and then gone. It was just
over and over again.
It was his best recording ever.
Now, I've decided after watching Class of 1999.
Oh, that's the movie we're doing?
That's the movie we're doing. So if Steven's internet acts up, I'm going to spank his internet provider. They're getting a spanking.
Spank that ass, Les. Spank that ass.
And if you guys all misbehave, you're getting spanked. Spanks are getting, passed out today.
Well, with Nate being the master of segues, we are doing Class of 1999 tonight. And I'm sure there's going to be quite a few of you going, what? What's that movie? I have never heard of this movie. But I have. And so when I watched this again earlier this year, probably about a month or two ago, it just hit me, and I was like, you know what? This is a perfect movie, I think, for all of us to do instead of Toxic Avenger. I had a feeling most of them hadn't seen it, and just the feeling of what I know they cover on their show and what we like to cover over on ours for a bit more obscure movies, I'm like, this is great. And also, it's directed by the guy that did Commando. There is a lot of pedigree behind this particular movie, and I thought it would just be fun, and I think it fits the bill. And there is just a bit of horror in this one as well. I mean, I think it fits well. So tell you what, let's go ahead. Let's hit the trailer real quick. It's a super short trailer. Like, I try to find the short ones. No, they were like, yeah, about a minute. That's all you need to know about this movie, and you'll all go watch it. So let's hit the Class of 1999 trailer, and we'll be right back.
In 1998, 6 million violent incidents took place in American high schools, including 29,927 teacher fatalities. The public school system has been reduced to a battlefield. But the Board of Education has just found a solution. The perfect solution.
You're next, Mr. Cope.
For the Class of 1999.
What are you?
The Class of 1999.
These androids were supposed to educate the students.
Battle droids, Miles. Battle droids.
To graduate is to survive.
That's it. that's the trailer for Class of 1999.
I think it's fun that this movie simultaneously got everything correct and everything wrong. Wherein they did not predict 1999 to have the right amount of technology that it should have had, but they also did not predict the Y2K thing where there would be no technology. So,
yeah, I mean, it's prophetic and not at the same time, But bravo for trying, man. I mean, they really went out there. So for those that don't know, this is I want to call it a spiritual sequel to Class of 1984, which is Mark L. Lester's originally, the guy that directed this also directed that one, which was a teacher versus gangs of students. And I'm a fan of that movie. And I don't know if you guys have watched any of the other, like there's the prequel, there's the sequel to all
I didn't
this.
even know there was a part 2 until after this ended. And Tubi went, "Would you like to watch part 2?" And I went, "Hell yeah, I do, but I got to watch another movie before I can."
Fun fact, I watched number 2 before I ever watched any of these because I am a huge Sasha Mitchell fan. Ever since, God crap, what's the name of the show he was on? TGI Fridays.
It was like one of those like step-by-step shows or something.
It was Step by Step.
What?
That's the name of it. Step by Step. Good job, Steven. You nailed it.
Don't tell anyone I knew that.
But he played the dumb kind of cousin Cody on there, and there was an episode where he actually did martial arts in the show. And then I started finding out he had done like Kickboxer 2. He had done a ton of like these straight to video martial arts movies. And then I found Class of 1999 2, The Substitute. And I won't spoil anything for you guys for you to watch it because it's honestly one of my favorites just because of the nostalgia. But Mark L. Lester had done a movie about a teacher fighting gang members. It's a good movie. It's very gritty. It's not this movie at all. This one, he's like, let's make it sci-fi now. Let's give them robot teachers versus a gang war, and let's throw some Terminator and Escape from New York and one other movie I want to talk about a little bit later because I want to know if anyone else picked up on something I did or if I'm just crazy. But we'll get there. And I'm kind of hoping Leo caught it, but we'll find out because I don't know. I have a feeling Leo either caught it or when I say it, he'll be like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." But we'll get there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm hoping Steven got it.
Are you hoping Steven got it?
I don't even know what it is.
I'm hoping everyone got it. But as we
Hyderabad got it.
There's a lot of other influence in this movie too, though. Like there's a lot of like different little fingerprints in it.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a ton.
Other places, yeah.
And there's so many like little throwbacks to other movies, and the cast in this movie is, God, this movie doesn't deserve the cast it got. With Malcolm McDowell, Pam Grier.
Yeah. Yeah, when Pam Grier showed up, I went, "Oh, hell yeah."
This movie goes to show there's literally nothing that Pam Grier can do where she's not a badass.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like literally rip her chest open, and we're fine with it as the movie goes on at the ending, and she's just walking around with her shirt and chest
Pam Grier
open.
booby.
Little half boob hanging out as it
slipping
goes.
out the side.
But we also got like Stacy Keach in here. And
which drove me insane for like the first half hour. Like, why does this dude look so familiar? God.
Yeah.
Did anybody catch who the lead is? The lead guy.
Well, the lead guy, Bradley
Cody?
Gregg, I don't know.
Yeah.
My heartthrob, Cody?
He is in Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yes, he is.
He's the puppet guy.
Oh,
he's
is
the one
he
that
really?
gets all his ligaments pulled out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Well,
did not know that.
I have a surprise actor in here that it was bugging me watching it, and I had to look him up, and his name didn't like ring any bells, but he plays Sonny, which is the guy that gets totally messed up by the guards out front. He's with them when they pick up Cody from the prison, and he's played by Darren E. Burroughs. And I looked him up, and I'm like, I don't know this guy. I don't know, like the movies he's in. I've seen a handful of them, but not a lot. But I kept looking at his face going, I know this kid. I know this guy. I looked up his IMDb and scrolled on down. Guess who his dad is? Nate.
I had no clue. Burn.
Billy Drago.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. Billy Drago is his dad. And I was like,
had a kid?
That is it, because there's times if you pause it, that's young Billy Drago in this
carried
movie.
Billy Drago's
baby
for 9 months.
Willingly, hopefully.
And lived.
For those
Billy
that don't
Drago
know,
raised the kid?
go back and listen to our Hills Have Eyes and then our Delta Force 2. And speaking of Delta Force 2, John P. Ryan is in this movie.
Yep.
who is the over exuberant general in Delta Force 2.
Oh, that's right.
Always the hard way.
God.
And he has the same maniacal smile and mannerisms in this movie as he did in Delta Force 2. And I was just, those aren't the reasons I love this movie. Those are just the little sprinkles on top that make it all that much better.
We also got
names. I'm blanking on his last name right now, but the kid that played Angel.
Yeah. Homer.
Homer, exactly, from Near Dark.
Well, also the girlfriend is from Fright Night 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Is
so,
she now?
It's
B-movie celebrities here.
Oh, there are a ton.
Yeah.
And because we were going to do Toxic Avenger, and now we're doing this one, Patrick Kilpatrick was in Toxic Avenger, and he's the main robot in Class of 1999.
Mm-hmm.
He was the red and black gang member at
amazing.
the little fast food place. And I remember that because I think that's what we were talking about when everything died on the episode.
True. Yes, that's exactly what we were talking about.
And I'm watching this going, we got Patrick Kilpatrick back again. It was the Sandman and like Death Warrant. I mean, he's been in a ton of movies, and to me, this is probably one of my favorites of his anyway. He makes the best bad guy. Nate had an interaction with Angel the other day, didn't you, Nate?
Well, I followed him, then he ended up like noticing 2 of our stories on Instagram. So now Angel knows we exist.
We're basically best friends.
Yes, basically. Now, it's funny you guys mentioned Tracy Lynn, who played Christy, the main lead actress in the movie.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it was just my version on Tubi, but every time she showed up on the screen, Dreamweaver kept coming on.
Is that what it was?
And there was a lot of hearts. Did that happen for anyone else, or was that just me?
Just you.
That's probably a feature you have.
Okay, that's a feature I had. I
Did
felt
you
like,
look at settings? And,
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one that showed up for me with Pam Grier.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
I think that's
I
what
felt
happens
hard.
when
Felt fast
I think
and hard.
I think that's what happens when you actually do the sign up on Tubi. You know, most of us watch it without signing up.
You get
So
to pick your crushes, like 3 pictures come up, and you just click on one.
that's how Tubi really narrows it down. Yeah, they really get those recommendations nailed in perfectly.
Those algorithms are getting out of control.
Tubi, we're still waiting for that sponsorship. Anytime you want to sponsor us, we're willing to do it. Not for a lot of money. I'll just take the free sign in. I'll take it.
I would take one time traveling machine with my current age to go back to 1990.
Yeah.
That's my demands.
Yeah.
Is that
it's funny. It's nothing to do with the movie, but in mentioning that, people talk about that hypothetical. If you had time travel, what would you do? I wouldn't even do it to try and get rich or anything weird like that. I just want to go back and watch Star Wars on launch weekend.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's how
That
I
would
would
be the
use
one.
time travel.
All right, so I'll go back to try to like shoot my shot with Christy, and then I'll go back a little bit further to go see the Star Wars premiere, and then I'll go forward a little bit to see Empire and spoil it as I'm walking out.
That's right. That's right.
They just wants to spoil it for everyone.
I can't believe it was his dad.
You're that one asshole on the news who gets like
some Wookiee standing in line beats Nate to death.
Rips me from limb to limb.
He's on the 5 o'clock news. It's hilarious.
Ohio man.
They won't even know where you're from. You don't take your ID when you time travel, dum-dum. What's wrong with you? Don't do that.
How else am I supposed to buy a drink?
Over. I mean, come on.
I'll save all this for our Time Cop episode when we finally cover that movie. We get into the deepness of time
I will go
travel.
into the science of Time Cop. That way I can win over Christy.
That'll do it.
She will be mine.
She clearly goes for that kind of nerdy bull.
Yes.
I was still trying to figure out, like, so they paint this whole thing as damn near post-apocalyptic almost. Like, there's so many gangs everywhere that have basically taken over.
Well, I was like, it's Escape from New York.
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah.
Like,
this movie is what everyone is freaking out that gun violence will be now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the pulse as far as that goes. Like, armed guards at schools and, a ton of stuff like that.
Isn't it weird that topically we've passed 1999 by year, and here we are, not in a dystopian future, but in a future where this stuff is more rampant?
Yeah, dystopian was a year or two ago. That's when it was more dystopian.
Well,
but I was...
Go for it,
No, go ahead. No, I was just going to continue on the thought of that. So they made these schools, they basically militarized them, and there's like DMZ zones everywhere. That's where the school is, but yeah, everything around it is just war and chaos between the gangs. Except this one school has rich preppy kids that go to it, and Neanderthals and gang members. Yeah.
So I want to be very clear before I tear into this movie or anything. I really liked this movie. I really enjoyed it.
I'm going to go ahead and say I think it's the best movie we've ever covered.
Oh, thank God.
I really enjoyed this movie. And I have a lot to compliment about it. However, I was thinking this is like a war zone, and these kids are they're shooting guns in the air and whatnot, and then they're like, it's 7:30. I gotta go to school.
Yeah, I have to. Okay, now this digs right into one of my big notes. I'm not sure if you're living in this future as a 13 to 16-year-old kid, where every day is literally you could wake up dead and you're fearing for your life, that punching the clock at school and doing your math homework is your priority.
These kids are throwing grenades at each other.
Yeah, you get out of prison. And they're like, Cody, you magnificent stud, what do you want to do now you're out of prison? And they're like, go to school. I was like, wait, what?
And the fact that everyone else is there, too.
Yeah. It's the one plot hole I have in this movie that's big enough to drive a truck through. Like, why is this what they're focused on? Why? We've got to do what the teacher says. We got to actually punch in at 7 and leave at 4.
The classic, how do we reach these kids?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I feel like Cody should have just shown up to the school and had no one there. Then, of course, there's no movie.
Yeah. But where are they getting all the ammo? How are they affording so much ammo?
Some of them learned how to make it. They're out there chiseling rocks and getting the ingredients.
When we meet Cody's mom, that's when I realized this movie was actually a prequel to 8 Mile.
Okay, now you're touching on something that I was going to talk about. This
was that the influence? Did I get it?
Close. It's part of it. What no one can see is the giant grin on my face of all three of them just diving right into this movie with exactly what I wanted. I wanted this to be like, what did you pick and why do I like this movie so much? That is the exact feeling I wanted from everyone. Because Leo makes the comment, a plot hole you can drive a bus through. Let's make it a big yellow armored school bus that drives around the neighborhoods to pick up the hooligans. Also, they all have to go through metal detectors because they're all carrying assault rifles, shotguns, handguns, probably a rocket launcher.
Can I just say something real quick?
Rocket launcher, do they put it back in their hands? Oh, here you go. Have fun, Johnny.
Right. Do you get a ticket? It's like, oh, wait, I have my ticket.
Valet system. Like, I'm number 69. Nice. Give me back my shotgun.
Also, I just got to say, one of my favorite things, I laughed every time I saw this. When they're going through the metal detector, there's a bunch of soldiers that are there that are like, remember, like, no weapons, no knives, no this, no that. Also, no sexual activity. And they couldn't look at the biggest dork. They look at this big dweeb, and he gives them a look of like, no problem there, sir.
He was the one in the coat check room that was checking all the guns for everybody. That's what it was.
I also like that they said that if any guns are found on premises, you're like kicked out or you go straight to prison. At least 3 people walking up the stairs were carrying guns up in the air as like, no, this is my emotional support rifle. And I have this in school with me right
You're
now.
allowed to be on the bus with all your guns. So I just picture Chris Farley being the guy driving there, telling them to all pipe down. And I swear to God,
Safety's on!
In my high school, if you did poorly enough, they would actually threaten you with suspension. And one of the things you could do poorly to get that is cutting class. So if you cut class enough, they'd give you what they call at-home suspension, where you weren't allowed to come back to school, which we all just went, that's what we want. We don't want to be here. That's why we're cutting class.
Right. I never understood. So we had alternative school. So if you were like really unteachable, unruly, and all this stuff, and suspensions weren't working, they sent you to alternative
We
school.
had one of those as well.
Yeah. Yet they still let them come to trade school. And they, when I say Neanderthal, I'm not making light of that. These guys, they're literally the equivalent of let's bang rocks together and see what happens.
See, I remember mine was like one time my wrestling team, we had to ride the same bus as those kids. Like that bus had to take us to the other school. And it was just like, oh my God, this is like everything that every 90s like PSA has warned you about. Like, you know, I'm fairly certain they all had switchblades pointing at each other with smokes, and the Marble Reds rolled up in their sleeves. And
you're riding in on the dare
oh my
bus.
God.
Yeah. See, that was our trade school bus. Everyone had cigarettes and skull and dip and everything else.
No,
so that was normal.
All these guys have like killed someone at this point, and that's why they're going to Kiefer.
Another thing that just is like so funny about this movie is the clothes that everybody's wearing.
Mm-hmm.
That like some costume designer thought these clothes were cool, and they're not at all.
Somebody watched Warrior.
Everything that Cody wore is amazing.
Yeah,
Cody wore a jacket that looked like he stole it from a trumpet player.
Right?
It did. The shoulders were huge.
And everything but the tassels. Like,
first of all, don't diss Sergeant Pepper. He's doing all right. Secondly,
why you guys hurt knocking on my boy?
I want to point out, because we're on the topic. Cody comes in the same outfit day after day.
Yeah.
His girlfriend, in one day, had 5 outfits.
Oh, yeah.
What is she doing? Why is she going in between classes and changing clothes?
She's the principal's daughter. She's allowed to have many outfit changes.
She's in a white outfit in math, and then she changes for another one for her social studies, and then she changes for another one for history. It's stupid.
Have you met some preppy girls? I remember preppy girls in high school.
There were girls that used to change, like they would like switch outfits.
Yeah, especially like after gym class. That was always the big one.
I would understand that, but it wasn't that. It was just this random pattern of every shot she's in a new outfit.
I also like that everybody has like one of Steven Tyler's scarves like wrapped around their head.
I like that. That was supposed to be the colors, yet their entire outfit was the colors.
Yeah, they had like berets.
The Blackhearts were like tie-dye, and I'm like, you're a hard gang if you're wearing tie-dye around. Calling yourselves the Blackhearts. I don't know, there was like mix of Clockwork Orange and Warriors and all this other stuff happening in this movie. But I was going to do so. Oh, I know what it was. Nate brought up the mom part. So I think saying that now, I want to bring this up. So watching this movie now, like literally the other day, I went, son of a bitch, I think I'm onto something here. So Cody gets out of prison. They come and pick him up. He's got a younger brother and his friends and everything that are full on into the gang life. He gets in and he's like, nah, man, I don't want to do that stuff. I don't want to do the drugs. I don't want to do this. I want to go to school. Everyone's like giving him shit. Like, man, you've changed. What are you doing, man? Then a little bit later, he goes home. He's got a drugged out, deadbeat mom. The kid's pretty much raising himself. They threaten to keep kicking Cody out of the gang, to, what do you call it? Jump out instead of the jump in. There's a movie that has a lot of those same story plots that is very, very famous, somewhat controversial.
I know what it is.
I figured when I broke it down, someone was going to pick up on that.
Yeah, because I get huge Edward Furlong vibes from this kid.
Yes,
American History X.
That's it. So, yep, Steven won. I watched this going. Somebody watched Class of 1999 when they were writing American History.
Well, that's what's weird, because when I was watching Cody, all I kept thinking is this is what Edward Furlong tried to be in the early 90s.
Well, and that's probably true too. I mean, I see a lot of that, but that whole thing where, like in American History X, where Edward Furlong like rejects his brother because he's not going to be in the club. We'll just say that. And, Edward Norton just wants to, fix his life, come to accept what he did was wrong. I got a lot of that with Cody in this. It's like, I'm going to be on a straight and narrow. I don't want the gang life anymore. That's not me. He does play it off like, I don't want to go back to prison, but he also plays it off like he's kind of tired of it. You know, he's just like, I'm out of this game.
But the way they treat it is like he's been in prison since he was 8. And like he was in prison with everyone else that was 8. So they all grew up in, you know, the hard knocks.
My guess is probably in and out of. That's what I was putting together, because it was like one of those things like you have one more chance and that's it. If you come back here, you're not getting back out.
Well, that's something I was going to say too. Didn't they give him an ultimatum? Like, we're letting you out under the condition that you don't do anything at all.
Right.
Yeah, he wasn't allowed to do anything violent.
Yeah, he had to go straight to school, which they're giving him shit about. I'm going to go to school. They literally told him as they were giving him his stuff walking out of prison, you got to go to school. You can't miss a day. You can't do any of this. So we've literally spent probably 15 minutes just talking about the aesthetics and character building, and we haven't even got to the cool part of this movie yet, or the major plot of everything is the school is such a war zone that they have reached out to a robotics company to give them robotic teachers.
As schools do.
As most schools do.
As long as the levy passes.
And then we get albino mad scientist Stacy Keach coming in.
I love it.
With
And that was
really cool contact lenses and sporting one of the most glorious feathery rat tail I have ever seen in my life.
Mullet rat
all
tail.
of that. All of that was his idea. And they went, cool, go for it. He wanted to be an albino. And that's what they went for. I love Stacy Keach in this. And so we see this presentation amongst what I'm guessing is like the school board or whatever. Malcolm McDowell's there. He's the principal. And these 3 teachers come out, which is Patrick Kilpatrick, Pam Grier, and, you know, the general from Delta Force 2, because I'm not going to look his name up again. And then they reveal, which I thought was weird. They like immediately reveal that they're robots to these people. And I was like, I always kind of thought that would have been like a secret. They would have been like, you know, it's like, no, these are really, really good teachers. They're trained. They can do all this other stuff. And then because afterwards, like the principal doesn't know there's like a control room that they're watching the teachers, watching how everything progresses. He thinks they're just there to teach. The big reveal that they spoil in the trailer, which I thought was funny, is they never call them battle droids till the end, which was supposed to be the big aha moment of they're not teaching droids, they're battle droids. And I'm like, that was literally in the trailer. So they literally have like RoboCop directives, you know, and they'll go through like, should I discipline, take to principal, corporal punishment, and then if like you pick that one, it goes to another menu that's like, you know, do I disarm them, hold them back, or kill them, basically is what we start seeing in this movie. And they start out slow. You know, Pam Grier gets a pretty badass moment with the one kid disrupting class, and you know, none of the kids know they're robots. They think they're just normal, you know, dumbass teachers.
I mean, it's 3 new teachers that arrive on the same day.
Right.
Yeah. And each one of them takes a specific turn disciplining their students.
Well, they all have like a different way of disciplining, you know?
Right.
and they're all like weirdly good at it.
Yeah. I mean, I love how they each have their own almost like personality. You know, the like Patrick Kilpatrick is definitely like the gym teacher. I think he's supposed to also be the history teacher, but it's like, no, that dude is the gym teacher we all probably remember. Which was
my history teacher.
Yeah, they always did. I think they pull double duty normally.
At the risk of Steven going crazy over me mentioning this, I love when the robots get introduced and one of them is talking to because Malcolm McDowell and all that, they're like, oh, they seem so advanced. And one of the robots turns and goes, we've got 1 million megabytes.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's a terabyte of information, which is actually pretty good in today's society.
It is. It is
unheard of in '84.
So, does that mean terabyte? That word just didn't exist yet.
Oh no, it was there. It was there. Okay. It was just it was unreachable at that point in history. So
nobody knew what it was.
My guess is most people wouldn't know what terabyte was.
Well, that just sounds more sci-fi.
Exactly. Right. That's why they use
1 million megabytes. My favorite mannerism was whenever they would be like in a meeting that was supposed to be serious, and like Patrick Patrick would have his legs crossed and he'd be looking at the people intently, like really trying to take in the conversation. And I was just like, you're just overacting it, but it's what you would expect, like, this robot to do. It's like, I'm supposed to be a professional teacher, all this other stuff. And they nail it in this roles, all three of them, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah. They're chewing the scenery here, but they know what they're doing.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like, I fully believe like Patrick has like training in like either mime work or something to that effect, because the way, especially as the movie goes on, he just gets better and better and better the more I watch. You can guess who my favorite person in this movie is right now. But so as this movie progresses on, and we're not going to synopsize the whole thing, and hopefully if you're listening to this episode, you have seen it, but basically the robots decide to really elevate things and get the gangs fighting each other. Like some reason they target on to Cody because Cody had literally watched one of them kill his friend. And
I think that's what it was, is he caught on, Cody.
Yeah, he was picking up just as fast as they were evolving.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that's going on too, is you're watching them evolve, and it's faster than even Stacy Keach. It's going so much faster. And he's like, let him go. He's got a whole entire lab behind him that's like, no, I think we need to shut this stuff down. And he's like, nah, let's keep going. It'll be fine.
The scientist thing of like, let my creature live.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole Herbert West thing from Reanimators. Like, nah, just let him go.
Oh, no, what it was Stacy got really excited when Spank started getting delivered. Because that's when they use corporal punishment.
Talk about one part that did not age well.
No, but still hilarious. So, Nate, won't you tell us about the spanking segment of this movie?
Please describe, Nate.
Oh, I've been dying to talk about spanking for the last 48 hours.
The spanking.
Basically, we have the general from Delta Force 2 who decides that his two disruptive students need to be corporal punishment. That is his directive that he sees. And his way of doing corporal punishment is grabbing both of them by the collar, taking them up front, putting one on the ground, putting his feet on him, and putting the other one across his knees and spanking him. A lot of spanking. I mean, just nonstop.
Yeah. And they speed up the film, so it's really fast.
It's really fast. And I'm telling you, whoever the sound person was, they deserved an Oscar that year because they nailed.
This kid had to be like 16 as well, so this wasn't like a toddler getting a spanking.
No,
this is
you have
this actual young adult.
56-year-old actor just spanking a 16-year-old. And then after he gets done with one, he grabs the other one and starts spanking him as if that guy didn't just learn his lesson from the previous spanking.
And they're crying out like in pain.
And the whole class is like, I guess we should learn. And maybe this is why we shouldn't pick up our Uzis.
Exactly. Yeah, I think this is the moment that we all come together now as a class.
The entire class had Uzis, and they're like, oh, no, we're going to get a spanking if we do wrong, so we're just going to sit down and be polite now, as opposed to, let's just shoot the prick.
Yeah, because right after they all get out of school, they could all get their guns back and go, all right, well, let's go get the guy that spanked us real quick.
Yeah.
I would love to see if there's like a graph of like people who have like spanking fetishes, and then it gets to like when this movie came out and it shoots up.
We've been accepted. We're on the silver screen.
Finally, we've been seen.
I always say representation matters.
Representation matters.
Even when it comes to spanking techniques.
These teachers, these disciplines, he does the spankings. They're back to the lab, and Stacy Keach gives him a line of something like, this is a level 7 multi-dimensional decision.
I love that.
Multi-dimensional.
What are we talking about here? It's
the whole right. The whole metaverse was involved.
It was, man.
Thanos coming down and
I think Stacy Keach had a spanking fetish. That's what I think.
I think he might have. I just want every movie to have this kind of result, though. Like Desperado, when Antonio Banderas came across the guy that shot him in the hand, he just, instead of going to shoot him with his guitar case, spanks him.
Next sequel, John McClane doesn't win unless he spanks the bad guy.
I mean, you definitely
it's a Russian terrorist that's trying to avoid getting spanked.
Wow. Yep. I'm not surprised. This is why we brought him on the show, guys. I picked this movie. I know what I'm in for here. So
I will say, because I want to say something good about this film because I quite liked it. I never quite knew what was going to happen. And that is a real treat. That is a real treat watching a movie. Because you have these gangs that are pretty well established, and you're not necessarily sympathetic to the gangs. They're doing really terrible
it's
stuff.
A really good freeze, though, I gotta say.
That's your screenshot at the end of the episode when you want to show that he was here. That's it.
Did I freeze for a second?
His whole building's about to lose their internet again.
Yeah. Yeah, this is honestly probably the greatest picture.
I just took that picture, honestly.
Perfect. There, good timing. Great.
I want you to know I could hear you guys laughing at me the whole time.
That was the point.
Part of me was really hoping you planned that. And it's just like
I don't know what I froze on, so
he'll send you the snapshot. It's great.
Oh, glorious. I love this. I love all of this right now. This is our grand return, Nate, and this is beautiful. I love all of this. Well, not 100% sure what's going on there, so I think it's time to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Welcome to the Monster Movie Stomp Down with me, Stompy, and my little brother Frank.
Hi, I'm Frank.
Yes, you are. So join us, Sludge, Mark, and Ruben as we review monster movies from all around the world.
And don't forget about the monthly contest and trivia.
That's right, peasants. You'll find extra content like the Underdogs, Monster Mash Wednesdays, Friday Night Fights, each week exclusively on our Facebook and Instagram.
So please join us at the Monster Movie Stomp Down.
Your one-stop shop for monster movie reviews, interviews, news, contests, and of course, me, Stumpy.
And Frank.
We're on a ninja journey. We're Ninja Warriors 5. Hit the track, don't look back. Here our ninjas come alive. Power wheels. Enemies will hear us. They'll shake when we go past. Kawasaki ninjas rule like Kawasaki ninjas cool. Give them all a blast. Kawasaki Ninja from Power Wheels. Some assembly and adult supervision required. Sound battery sold separate.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Sheik, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise, this team does it all. And all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling. Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
We now return to the Transformers.
So we pulled Steven back off the ledge from ripping all of his internet out of the building once again.
I said some very controversial things.
It just got way off the lines. He took his shirt off and started running around with these blue ether cables up and down the hallway. So
it was
best
that it was cut.
Yeah. So,
best
on the blooper reel.
Yep, it will be because none of us can remember what the thought was. So we're going to just jump right back into this. It'll be fine. New thoughts, new praises. Nate, did you have a new thought for us, brother?
I did. What's the football team like for this school?
I wanted to know about the sports.
Because, I feel like, he got a touchdown. We're just going to kill him.
I like to think that this school doesn't have a football team as their major sport, more like a chess club or something.
That's what I'm wondering. What's the chess club like?
Yeah. What's Glee like?
So they obviously wrestle because the coach was teaching them wrestling moves. Angel's playing basketball with his brother before he gets brutally murdered.
Yes.
And so I was like, so sports are a thing, just not at the school. But I'm with you guys. I really wanted to know more about like the extracurricular activities.
Yeah, I want to know what the field trips are like when they get to go to like local museum.
They're going down to the science center on Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, guys, it's that scared straight thing they try to do on television. They take them down to the prison, and all the prisoners yell at them.
Oh, hey, there's Cody.
Yeah, what's up, Cody? We miss you.
This is Seattle. They're going to take him to the EMP. They're going to take him to the whole Space Needle area, do the parks and recreation gag.
Oh, I'd be down for that.
That's right. You used to live in Seattle. Is this exactly what it looks like?
No. Well, there is one area of town, yes, but the rest of it, no. Interestingly enough, in this movie, they actually have the dystopian area where the kids are dying every day, and then these two guys go out and have a fancy meal at a nice place downtown. That's a lot more like what Seattle is. It's like they're covering up all the rundown stuff with these nice areas, trying to get you to focus on that.
Like the teachers were even staying at a really nice condominium, you know, so it's like they were like, this is literally like on one side of the tracks versus the other because they all still have to go to the same school. And it's just hilarious how this is set up.
I like that as these robots, the only thing they need is this liquid and WD-40.
I love when they open up the cabinet and there's like 50 cans of WD-40.
Well, dude, it fixes everything. So, like,
I like when she finds Pam Greer's bra and she goes, women have lots of personal stuff, but she's still a chemistry teacher. Like, what the hell does that mean?
Those chemistry teachers, they don't have shit.
It's called, as a kid, you don't think of your teacher like that. Literally, kids think the teachers live at school. Like when you ran into them at the grocery store, going, Mom, my math teacher's here getting food. You know, that's
meanwhile, your math teacher's like, this little shit better not say anything. Do not come up to me. Do not come up to me.
This girl is defending her as a woman on woman. Like, women have stuff, and this is a woman's thing, and she's a human being, but she's still a chemistry teacher, as if that somehow is a separate situation.
Right. I can't put these two things together.
There's no way.
Well, they didn't have the sex ed robot droid there with them, so
that's in the sequel.
Pam Grier also played that role.
I would hope so. I don't
lucky bastards.
I don't want Patrick teaching me about that later. It's just
after seeing how she worked in this film, I don't need the hands-on version of that education.
She was icy with her hands. Oh man!
One might say with her flamethrower, she was hot.
Oh, exactly. Bomb. There we go. That's what we missed on our technical difficulties right there. But I also get back to as they're trying to set this plot that the robots are setting up the gangs against each other. We literally get a war zone gangland fight with teenagers with better armament than most militias down the street from me. And Cody has a handgun with the largest sight and laser on it, straight out of Escape from New York. And all those like Tango and Cash. Cash wants his gun back.
That was all the attachments unlocked in Call of Duty for that.
That's
gun.
what it was. You know how long it took me to get that? It's going on my gun. Yeah, but I literally have a rifle. I don't care. It's going on my handgun.
Do you think these kids Cody was able to drive from the militarized zone over to the suburbia area where the teachers lived? Do you think that's where they got all their ammo and everything? They just rode into somebody's cul-de-sac.
They just steal it all.
There is a very well-off guns and ammo store owner around that area.
I had that in my notes. This place has got to have a killer Army Navy.
Oh, has to. Like that dude's like, I just sell to both sides, so I'm always coming up on top.
I got it, guys. It's been in front of us the whole time. This movie was directed by Mark L. Lester. In Commando, there is an Army surplus place that has the hidden room in the back that you hit the button, and everything opens up, and there is everything that is in this movie is in the back of the Commando guns and ammo store. I solved it. There we go. That
blows my mind that now we're talking about the director, that he goes from Commando to like this sci-fi crazy B-rated action movie, right?
Yeah.
Like
Terminator ripoff. Yeah.
It's just so insane to me that the dude worked with Arnold and then does an Arnold ripoff movie.
Yeah. I really hope he pitched it to Arnold at least one time.
Like while they're filming, he's like, so I got a really good idea about teachers that are robots.
Yeah. He's like, I know you've done the robot thing once.
Would you like to? It's
were you ever a teacher
before you do it again? Maybe step in and.
Yeah, I would have loved Arnold in this, but it would have been
the gym teacher.
Absolutely would have been the gym teacher. It would have been hilarious. He also did like before this, like Firestarter. You know, right. I mean, he's got a pretty good pedigree. And after this, he rolled right into Showdown in Little Tokyo with Dolph and Brandon Lee. I mean, the man knows action, and obviously, it's one of the reasons why when I watch this movie, I just gravitate to this movie so much. There's no reason this should make sense, or it should even, you expect this to come from like Canon or Full Moon or one of these. Yeah. And it's not. And honestly, I didn't look up the budget. I feel like there's a bit of money behind this thing.
$8 million.
When was it $8 million? That's decent.
So
because
here's my one gripe about that. And for what it's worth,
you
have a movie that has a good budget. Enough that they get these 3 cyborgs and these 3 cyborg arms and weapons and everything like that. And then she grabs, or one of them has the claw arm, grabs the kid.
The claw.
Sticks him up to the wall, and we don't get to see the kill. Like, you have the budget for the robot, you don't have the budget for the kill? What are you doing here?
I am always irritated by the camera cutaway for the kill and just the spray of blood on the face.
Yeah.
And to me, it's always a cop out because the claw is so well done. It's not a drill bit. It's like the end mill for a CNC that comes out of the middle, and he driving it through this kid's face. And I don't even get to see the aftermath.
We got to see it in Phantasm, and they had less of a budget.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean,
it does look like he could slip out of that claw pretty easily.
Oh,
yeah. Like, I have tried to win many plushes with that same claw. So I know it does not have much grip.
Right.
Just falls right out. Also, Cody waited till his buddy was already dead before he picked up the gun and blew the teacher's head off.
Right.
It's like you couldn't have done that like 10 seconds earlier.
Which was glorious. But also they spent all the money for the drill kill on Pam Grier's hand melting.
I guess.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, we get the Raiders of the Lost Ark instead of the face, just her entire arm melting. Which when that was happening, I was like, what's happening right now?
Yeah. Like it's very weird. She like holds it up and you see like the fingers start coming down.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's a flamethrower. That's amazing. Before we get into too many of the kills, there is one scene in this movie that I want to know your reaction to. And we kind of
I have a feeling I already know which one you're going to talk about.
Okay, because I briefly said it because Angel's outside playing basketball with his brother, and they're having a good time, and the teachers have now declared war on fully onto the gangs, and so they hunt down Angel the kid, and they pin him in this like little parking area cul-de-sac garage spot, and as Angel's trying to run away, there comes a point where Patrick catches him, is holding him above his head. The camera cuts, and there is this body flying through the air, smashes into the wall. Pam Grier and the general from Delta Force look at each other and go, oops, I guess I missed it. It's just out of nowhere.
They chucked that kid.
I have no idea if that's supposed to be intentionally funny or unintentionally funny. and I don't care. It's hilarious every time.
I
it
busted
was
out
his own
laughing.
fault because he never shouted catch before he threw the kids.
That is true. He didn't go here catch. But it's just this. As soon as the camera cuts, you just see this kid-shaped, dummy fly, and I mean hit the wall with force. There is an audible like thud.
He didn't even need the noose. This kid died on impact.
And then Pam Grier and the guy look at each other and like, "Oops."
It's so unexpected. It just comes out of nowhere.
It is my favorite. I mean, honestly, and I was hoping you guys got tickled about it as much as I did because I was like, I had to write that down. I'm like, do not forget.
The thing about these B movies, there's always that one moment that's just so over the top ridiculous. It makes it worth watching. This was it for the film.
Yeah.
What about when they drive off the pier?
Oh, I hate getting
water.
wet. I hate water.
Yeah. And it's so deadpan. I hate water.
Yeah, no other reactions.
He doesn't even attempt to like hit the brakes. It's just like I have now accepted this is my destiny.
He knew he could walk back. He's okay.
I mean, they're totally fine. And every time they show the general from Delta Force 2, he has a smile on his face. This entire movie, he is smiling the whole time.
He's waiting until he can spank next.
He's smiling when he dies too, which is even great. I love all of that. But yeah, I couldn't jump into some of because it's like from this point forward, this movie just goes nuts. They're like, all right, balls to the wall. Here we go. Let's ensue chaos.
I love the tone of it though, because like it gets really like brutal with the overdose scene where they're just like one is shoving the drugs into Cody's friend's mouth and just like inhaling all the drugs, and that's a brutal death.
Yeah, Sonny.
And then you get to the war zone, which is just so over the top and ridiculous.
It's an action movie gunfight. It literally is.
It felt like I was watching Death Wish, like Death Wish 5 or something.
They said that was the longest thing to film because of how different the angles were and all the time they took to reload the guns. Because, while the movie it's endless bullets, someone still has to go put blanks in all those guns. Yeah. And that took a lot of time because they are everywhere. Sure. And you have the robots like in the midst of all these people fighting, killing people from behind, throwing a grenade, blowing up buildings. Like your friends are dying around you. They're still trying to shoot the other gang members. It's so wild to see.
That doesn't even count for the time that it takes when the teacher's sneaking up behind those two in the broken down house, and he might trip and have to do the scene all over again.
Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. How many times did they bump the camera in a shot?
Right.
Going over top of something.
There's so shrapnel just goes in the wrong direction or something.
Yeah. Oops, we lost that camera. Whoops. But I mean, there's so much involved. Like whenever you look at stuff, that whole thing probably took like 2-3 days to film. And it's awesome, and I love every bit of it.
We get that craziness, and then we get the confrontation at the school where the two gangs. Like Cody driving up, and they're still at it. Like, you killed my brother. Well, you killed my friend.
I was waiting for them to start snapping fingers and tie their wrists together.
This was West Side Story. Yeah,
right. I was because they had a checkered past. They used to be friends. Now they have to come to head with each other, and it's just I was waiting. I was expecting
show us the side plot where all the elementary kids are going through the same exact drama. As the high school kids.
That's the prequel.
Yeah, that's the prequel. You kissed her behind the slide, you slimy bastard.
With apple juice in their hands.
Yeah.
I often wonder with a movie like this when the gangs talk about we've been at war for years, but they never say why. And I'm like, what started this? What happened that set you two off from each other? And now it's this year-long thing.
He ruined my favorite porno tape. It was my older brothers who went off to college to go fight in the Great College Gang War, and he went and jerked off too hard to my brother's porno tape, and now I don't get to do it, so I'm kind of upset.
That's like the flashback.
Yeah.
I'd have been down. I was going to go down a show and tell route, but I like Nate's explanation so much better.
I was going to bring the tape to show and tell. Yeah.
That's right. That was, Look, I brought this from home.
I brought the greatest movie ever made.
Oh, speaking of chaos ensues over here. No, but like I mean, this thing just you get to that point where they all meet at the school. They decide to join forces against the teachers, and then the dude busts out a rocket launcher, which is my second favorite scene in this movie. He's like, "All right, bro, do it." And he pulls like you guys were getting ready to destroy each other. I would have had a shot of a couple of the other side of the gang members going, "What the hell?" Like we had no chance.
He was so excited.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I finally get to bust this out." He was like Brick in Anchorman, running around with the grenade, just yelling inexplicably. He's just pointing the bazooka at other people, and they would just run away. That's all it would take.
Yeah. I gotta say, that little rocket for 1984 technology had some big bang to it.
Yeah, a lot of big bang to
Everything
it.
had so much big bang.
God, it's so much explosion.
Explosions in the end. It's great.
I love it. And they all like, we're going to ride motorcycles in the school. Everyone is on a motorcycle as we go in. And they divide and conquer. And the teachers, this is when we get those great reveals of like Pam Greer's arm. Like they shoot her up and they see the green liquid come out of her, like guts fall out of her too from behind, which I love the ooey gooiness of that.
Oh, so great.
And then, the hand melts and she's blowing, flamethrowers. She hits a couple of them. But then my next favorite is Patrick comes walking out of one of the classrooms, stares at him, and literally does the Terminator move before Terminator did it. Okay. The original Terminator didn't do this. It wasn't until the second one where he holds his hand up and peels the flesh off of it to reveal a Gatling rocket launcher. I'm like, I was expecting like a minigun. No, this dude's got like Ed 209 rockets.
Question.
Go for it.
One got a rocket launcher. One got a flamethrower. Do you think the one with the claw is disappointed?
I totally would have been disappointed.
He did something in programming. Okay.
The three cyborgs got together. He's like, "Come on, man!"
Click, 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 click.
It's that or
bullshit.
We never got to the. He died before we could reveal that he actually had the Love Machine 6-pack gun shooter at his crotch. He just drop his pants and it's just there's two little mini Gatling guns going to town.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that these cyborgs are all that high tech when Pam Greer's flamethrower arm, the servos keep making all that noise the way it's making.
They are the loudest robots once the skin comes off.
I think it sounds awesome. I actually really enjoy it. I think it's very campy.
I love it, especially when they do the thing like, "Do you hear that motorcycle?" I'm like, "No, I hear servo motors."
This movie can be judged by the wideness of my smile, which starts very small, but I'm enjoying the movie, and by the end was like ear to ear.
Oh, most definitely. As it's getting more and more batshit crazy, I'm like, this is like, if I was a kid, had my action figures, and I'm making them smash into each other, I'm like, this is the storyline.
I gotta say, yeah, completely. If I was younger seeing this for the first time, it would have been a whole different experience. I would have loved it even more.
Yeah,
this would right my wheelhouse.
I'm so mad I didn't get to see this as a 12-year-old.
Yeah. I saw this as like 14, 15 years old, so I at least had it early enough.
See, that's the right demographic.
It's the perfect one. That's why this movie has stuck with me for so long. I'm actually mad at myself that I kind of not watched it for a long time till Tubi brought it up.
Yeah.
And, so I sat down, I watched it just because I watched the second one. I'm like, I haven't watched the first one in a while. And I watched it going, I have to change the movie. Like that's literally my thought in my mind. I pretty much messaged Steven immediately and I'm like, "Hey, I'm calling an audible. I really want to change this up and you'll understand once you watch it." And it's kind of how I pitched it to all of you.
No, that's how he pitched it to me too. I was like, okay, I went in completely blind. I didn't watch anything. And by the end of it, I'm like, why didn't I get a cartoon show of this? Why didn't I get like a game on my Genesis of this,
Yeah, a video game version of Class of 1999 would have been amazing. We found out they did one for Universal Soldier after we did the episode. So, it's like this would have fit perfectly. And before we end out here, we got to talk about the final finale of this movie is that Patrick Kilpatrick gets run over by a car, and we get the great Terminator thing. It's not really dead, and he comes out, and it's like, yeah, we're not even hiding the fact that we watched Terminator before we made this movie. It's like half human, half robotics. Everything's like dripping off of him body wise.
When we get into the like puppetry work,
it's one of the best puppets I've seen from this type of budgeted movie. I adore what they do with this. Honestly, I think the reason they left the eyeball in the robot sides of the eye, which really makes it goofy, is because if they took it out, it'd be like, yeah, that's definitely Terminator, and we're going to get sued. So we put the eyeball back in his head. But I really love how it moves and how they did it. You know, it's not jerky. It's not like Phil Tippett stop motion like Ed 209 or anything like that. I was really impressed with how this works and what they did.
It's also the right beat for the end of the movie, because you want to end on a robot. You know what I mean? You don't want to end
definitely.
on.
I need a full reveal of what their face looks like. Like,
yes.
You got a little bit of that in the beginning. They teased it of like what they kind of look like, but they
peel back the mouth and everything, which is, I think, a Westworld reference, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I thought it was.
They do the reveal from Yul Brynner to show that it's the mechanics. As a matter of fact, I think it's on the cover of the movie too, from the VHS, where it shows all the stuff. But you get that, and then we've all forgotten about Stacy Keach this entire time.
I haven't.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, I forgot about the albino dude. And he grabs the girl, holds her hostage. He's like talking about it. You know, he's doing his monologuing. You caught me monologuing, you bastards. And so he's running all this stuff as we're watching the robot go down the hallways. And then I love it. I love it to death. The robot puts its arm through Stacy Keach's chest.
Guts him.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
This
and now
we back to RoboCop, where he gets his directives and says, "I can't fire on this guy until you tell him he's fired."
Right.
The robot short circuits and just like, I'm just going to kill this bitch.
Somebody forgot to update it to something, because all it said on his heads-up display was kill, kill, kill.
That's right.
That's all it said the entire time at the end.
You need more options.
It was great. And I gotta say, this is probably one of the more creative kills of a robot. Like in Terminator, they crush it. You know, he gets caught in the press as Linda Hamilton crawls through, crushes him down. All that's left is the arm for Terminator 2. This one it's chasing her up the ladder, which is the one part of the robot that does look goofy. Like that robot is not going up a ladder. It's not going up a ladder, but what it did was allow Cody to ram a forklift through its chest.
Which that means Cody is so cool because he's forklift certified.
He's forklift certified. So he's going to get the girl because he's forklift certified.
I will say though, he almost skewered her. Didn't give a shit about her at all.
For a moment, you're thinking that because she's still on the fork of the forklift when it moves. It just happens that she's like resting on it. And then she wraps the chain around the robot's neck. She drops, and he lowers the thing and stretches the coach out. It's the most gory robot death I think I've seen. Like
it looks awesome. It looks so awesome.
It's not blood and guts, but it is still gory.
It's brutal. Like I felt bad for the robot. Like, oh my god, he's being tortured.
It's a great practical effect, and there's green liquid everywhere.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
The head when it lands on the floor still looks awesome. Looks a little bit better than the puppetry version. It's just the head, but I love it. And then it's like all the pieces just slump onto the ground in like 3 piles, and they walk away. They're done.
Typically, when you have a killer robot movie, it just ends with an explosion. They just blow the thing up.
Right.
Yeah, so not a hanging.
Having anything different is always valuable, and having this one was much more creative, as you say.
I wonder if it's because they hung his brother.
Yeah, well, there you go. See, irony.
I didn't even think of that.
It all comes around.
Damn.
Yeah.
Which, honestly...
The movie just sort of happens, and the movie ends, and the gangbangers all have to have that late 80s dystopia all around them. And
it's a fantastic end song in
I was
this.
gonna say the
love
end
it.
song, I was losing it.
Yeah. And speaking of songs, this movie was made in 1989.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear a song in this?
Oh,
I did.
What did you hear?
I heard a Nine Inch Nails song.
Hell yeah.
You did.
Yeah, he did.
And you're talking super early in their career.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like they've only been really known as Nine Inch Nails for a year.
Yeah.
And
So they're probably super excited to have this movie deal. Yeah.
Oh, I guarantee. And I know I've read some things where it's like, especially if a movie only uses like a couple seconds of a song, they don't have to pay as much, but a lot of bands would just be like, I'm in a movie. That's fine. Use as much as you want. But it was when the Hector's on a phone call and you're like, wait, I just heard Nine Inch Nails. When was this movie made? I looked it up. It was like they formed in like 87 or 88 to really become Nine Inch Nails, because this movie was filmed in 89 and came out in 90. They delayed it before it came out, and I was just like, I'm old.
Hey, there was man, Nine Inch Nails is really been around for that long. But then B, it's like, man, Trent Reznor, you start out with class of 1999, and when you start there, you win an Oscar later on in life. And that's just the way it should be.
God bless you, Mark L. Lester, for giving Trent Reznor his break. I guess that's what I'm officially going to go on the record and say. There would be no Nine Inch Nails without class of 1999.
Honestly, Nine Inch Nails would not be as big as they are if it was not for the world-class class of 1999.
I'm telling you guys. Well, I am so freaking happy that what I hoped happened would happen, that everyone is smiling. We've talked about this whole thing. Technical difficulties aside, we have all like gushed about this movie. If you haven't seen it, God, please, it's on Tubi. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything, but what, an hour and a half, if that, I think is what the movie
It's fun.
is.
It's fun. Watch it.
Tubi with commercials, so you're gonna have like 2 hours, but
Yeah, so I think it says it's an hour 39. So, and Tubi's commercials are not bad. Tubi knows to get them in, get them done, and don't do a ton of stops. I think you get like 3 per movie or something like that.
Really? I got like 7 every commercial break, and there's
What?
Really? I only got 2.
Yeah, I never get that many on Tubi.
Yeah.
Did you sign up to, Leo? Is that what happened?
Leo clicks on too many of the ads.
I do not.
I already know that I want to own the super mega Blu-ray 4K edition of this movie.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, boys. Well, let's get into the next segment. Let's do the body count, which for those keen-eyed viewers pops up on one of the heads-up displays of Patrick Kilpatrick in this movie during the gunfight. He is keeping tally of the body count as he's watching the kids kill each other.
That's good. Made your job easier.
A little bit. Here we go.
Yeah.
Leave anything for us?
Just bodies. Body count. Body count. Body count. Body count.
And I'm only just realizing that sound clip is from Commando. So a little bit of Mark L. Lester.
It's all connected.
I love it. I love it. So body count for class of 1999 is 44 people die in this
Feels
movie.
low.
It does, but it doesn't, because I really did. For a moment there, I was like, that's low. And then I started thinking like, well, wait a minute. No one really dies until the teachers start killing people and then the big gunfight. Like, the gang, no one died in the big car chase, Mad Max style, at the beginning.
Yeah, I guess
of the
that's
movie,
true.
right?
It's just everyone was just shooting and throwing grenades in the beginning.
Hector just got boo-booed after the car literally flipped with him in the bed.
Really
So, and for those that I did mention it, so the kill counter was at like 14 when they show it from the robot's perspective. There's a little segment.
That's just his perspective. Do we count all the other gang members that died?
See, I was trying to figure out, was it what he was watching, or was that his personal kill count as he was going through? So
yeah, were the robots racing?
Yeah, it's like, was it like Gimli and Legolas? They were like, I have 3. That only counts as 1 when he throws the grenade into the building.
They'll compare notes back at the apartment.
Yeah.
I love that's we've really gone into the meat and potatoes of this movie, and I love it.
Potatoes.
All right, here is an equally more difficult segment we have to do now. So now we have to do Kill of the Week.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad.
All right, we're going to start with our guests. And Steven, what is your favorite kill of the week? And I will say right now, we can count the robots in this.
Yes,
they count. Yes.
That was going to be my question.
Yep. Nope. I knew it was going to come up, so they count.
I'm debating between two.
Okay.
But I'm going to go with Pam Grier's fiery death in the chemistry lab.
Good one.
That is amazing. We didn't talk a whole lot about it, but it was a good death.
It's both awesome, like just the like the cinematography when the everything blows up, it looks great, and her chasing them with the flamethrower looks great. But it's also hilarious because they take a fire axe and throw it across the room and hit her with it
with expert precision.
Doesn't need to happen, by the way.
No, that's totally added on just for flair. I don't know.
He has an amazing one-liner after killing her.
Yeah, it's like she got fired or something. There's a lot of great one-liners in this movie too.
Yeah, don't forget to stretch, coach, or something like that on the final kill.
I love that. The history
Yeah.
teacher one, he's like, your history.
Yeah, your history. There's so many good one-liners in this. So, all right, cool. Pam Grier's death on that. Leo, what is your favorite kill of the week?
I'm going to have to put Angel in as the runner-up. Only because, not because of his noose around the neck death, but I'm still convinced he died on impact hitting that
wall. We are all in agreement with that scene. Yes.
But I think the kill of the week is going to be the friend in the gymnasium who's pulling a gun on the teacher and got walloped.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That kind of sets the tone for everything right there.
Well, that's really a catalyst in the movie. That's where things start to just tick off. And
it's like, oh, this is getting real dark quick.
And you're like, he could totally incapacitate that kid easily, but then went snap and broke his neck. What was it, Steven? Go ahead, brother.
I want to ask a question. Did he look like the only person in this movie that couldn't hold a gun? That kid?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He was the bad gang member. He would have not done any damage at the war zone.
Well, he just sniffed like 18 vials of whatever that crap was. So
it should have made it better.
Yeah.
they make reference to that. They were like, I saw him there. He would have never hit him or something like that. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He was so messed up on drugs.
And then so I was really messed up. So
oh, insanely. So Nate, what is your kill of the week?
I'm surprised none of us have talked about this one yet.
There's probably a reason.
Yeah, there's a big gunfight going on. And we got Cody and his friend. They're in the hallway, and you just see the wall break, and a dude gets snatched and bent backwards and thrown through the wall.
Yes.
That happened, and I was like, the blob! Like, blew me away, I was like, that's such a good kill.
And when the camera goes through the hole, there's two pieces of the kid laying there.
Yep.
And the guy that did that effect worked on the blob.
He's like, you know what? This is a really good kill. I'm going to do it again.
That's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a great kill. So I guess it's my turn.
Yes, go for it, Charlie.
So here's what I got. My favorite is gonna be Patrick Kilpatrick at the end. When they rip that robot apart. But I'm gonna change something up for my special mention. Is the most artful is the fingers through the throat on Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is
because you see the fingers go in the flesh.
Yeah.
Because even when the daughter bursts into that room later and he's still laying there, it still looks really well done because the finger imprints are right there.
Well, it's very much like The Thing. When the Thing takes over the guy's face, and
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like putty, but it's just, and honestly, it didn't look, they do it so well with the practical effects that if anything, watch this movie for the practical effects. They're not cheesily done. They're fun, but they really put time and effort. That's where I feel like a lot of the budget, that and the sheet metal vehicles that run around and Cody's Cadillac that literally they took the bumpers and flipped them upside down. And now I want that Cadillac and I'm going to do that. I asked Nate, I'll do it in a heartbeat, but I adore that. So kill of the week will be, ripping the robot apart because it's not just metallic gore. It's just gory for being a robot kill. And when your influence was Terminator, which Terminator we were talking about, most robots just get blown up or dismembered. They crushed him, which was awesome when you first watched that movie. You're like, I've never seen that kill. So they're already going, well, we can't crush him. It's kind of sucks if we just blow him up. Let's take a forklift and stretch him across. That is brilliant in my mind and creative. And I wish we could get more of that kind of thinking in movies. But all right, boys, let's do what we're known for here. Let's put an Al Leong number to this. All right, guys. Well, I know over at Spoils of Horror, you run by a different set of rules. You don't review movies. You just talk about the enjoyment factor you have. But for today, you got to put a number to that enjoyment factor. So, Leo, I'm going to start with you because I started with Steven a second ago. So, what is your Al Leong score for Class of 1999?
This movie falls into one of those unique categories for me where I can't say it's a great movie because it isn't in its own regard. It's just a cheesy little B film. But in that, how much fun did I have watching it? And the truth is, a hell of a lot of fun. This is definitely a movie I would revisit and something that I would bring people in to watch on movie night and have a laugh, and it would be a great time. So I've got to go at least 8 or so with this one.
Perfect. I would hope for nothing less, except for maybe Nate. So, Steven, how many Al Leongs are you giving this bad boy?
So I'm a big believer that you have to compare a movie to the right movies. You can't say that, Schindler's List is a 10, therefore this is a something. You can't compare them.
No, you can't do that.
The best version of this type of movie, we already said it is Escape from New York.
Yep.
All right. That's the best version of it. Maybe it's like Hackers too. I got big Hackers vibes.
Oh yeah,
from
that's
this movie.
true.
Totally.
Yeah. So, Leo's laughing because he knows I love Hackers.
Everything's Hackers.
We love Hackers.
That movie.
Yes.
We adore that movie. I watch it all the time.
If you decide to do it on your show, I would love to come back for Hackers.
I feel like we need to do Hackers now.
We will schedule Hackers up. I'll
yes.
make it work.
Yes. Yes. My whole reason for being here. Yes.
He intercepted us.
He's been in the wings for weeks going, I'll get him.
There's a lot I like about this movie. We've covered everything I think is goofy. There's a lot of good actors in it. There's a lot of, it's got a great color palette. It's just a good looking movie. A lot of colors pop. I think it's got a really good script too. It moves. Biggest crime for a B movie is to be boring. This movie is never boring.
No.
This movie is a lot of fun. It's always changing. It's always becoming something new. I really like that. So yeah, I'm going to give it I'm not going to go quite as high as Leo, but I'm going to give it a 7.5. I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun.
Fair. No, that's solid. Nate, come on, Bubba. You literally signed yourself in as Mega Cody Lover on your video.
I was going to
stream.
make it Super Mega Cody Lover, but it wouldn't let me have that many characters.
Oh, okay. He tried.
So, obviously, I was a little worried we were going to have a Metal Storm debacle when you had recommended this. I was like, oh boy.
I wasn't going to do that to you.
And then with the opening of the movie and kids with guns, there was a part of me that went, oh boy, this is not going to age well at all. I got super nervous and just like little cringe, And then I had a complete blast, and I really do think this is like my favorite movie we've covered in a very long time as far as just something new. So I really think it's like a 9.5 for me. I can't think of anything I'd fix. I can't think of anything I'd change. I had such a blast. If I was 12, I would have had a sexual awakening of Cody and Christy. I would have not known what to do with myself. At 34, I still don't know what to do with myself. You picked a banger.
I had hopes, and then when I was watching it, I knew that beginning was gonna like kind of throw everyone off a little bit. I knew it doesn't start off super hard until basically you kind of really start questioning it when you see all the cars and the big car chase at the beginning of the movie. Like, what am I watching?
I knew we were okay once we got to the metal detector with all the guns being turned in. I went, oh. This is going to be interesting.
There is a point in this movie where everything clicks and it's like, Charlie is an evil genius. And I really did. I knew based on what you guys cover at Spoils of Horror, what we like here, I was like, man, this is that perfect B.
This was
out of
harmony.
nowhere. Yeah.
Charlie, can I just tell you something real quick?
Yeah,
when I
go
started
ahead.
watching this, I was thinking to myself, I wonder what it is about this movie that they thought was perfect for us. And in the first 5 minutes, they were like, these teachers are robots. And I went, okay, there it is right there.
and all the way till the end. And you're like, wow, he really does listen to the show. You know, that's one of those moments. And I know I got to give this a score, and I adore this movie. I have loved it ever since I watched it as a kid. It is a favorite, and it sucks that I have to say it was almost a forgotten favorite. You know, you especially doing the show, you forget about some movies that you're like, you remembered how much, you know, you enjoyed it till you finally get to revisit them again. And I was so glad I stumbled back onto it, and it just rekindled everything I love about it. And I love the second one. And honestly, Class of 1984 is good. I mean, if you've seen movies like The Substitute or what is it? Armed and Dangerous is yeah. So there's a lot of things that have taken influence from what Mark L. Lester did with Class of 1984. But this one just slaps, man. I love it to death. And I'm going to have to be there with Nate. I got to give it a 9.5 because it is so damn enjoyable. I want it on Blu-ray 4K. I want it in virtual reality. I want to be Patrick Kilpatrick and see the entire movie through his vision.
In the MetaQuest.
That's it, man. Like if they don't have that sector of Seattle in the metaverse, can we take it and make our own little dystopian future?
I gotta be honest, not to prick any balloons here or anything, but I'm not sure how much that was actually filmed in Seattle.
Well,
I thought I filmed in Cleveland.
I just like to be script accurate, I guess. Now, Cleveland, I can guarantee that that's half of what Cleveland looks like right now.
Oh, sure.
No, nothing at all.
Skyline shot of Seattle. You didn't see the Space Needle anywhere, so I don't know how real that was.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of people in Seattle wear those same clothes right now too. So
now, yes. A big comeback, yeah.
right.
It's coming back. It's coming back. So no, I'm super happy you guys loved it. All right, Nate. You know, it's weird. Your segment is the one part I hate most about the show. Is now we got to hear the trash. Not due to Nate. Nate does a superb job, but I hate listening to these wannabe movie reviewers. They really piss me off.
My favorite part, because I just picture someone from Seattle that went to film school, very prestigious, and I'd only watch the finest angled lights where no one talks in the movie.
They're just spreading peanut butter and jelly on bread, and that's all it is. Just no words. Black and white. All right, here's your music.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage. And then I pick up the trash can and I bash the guy on the head.
Oh, that's going to be a disaster.
All right, this comes from RCS back in 2007.
Okay.
He called this a frantic salad bowl, third rate, Mad Max plus Escape from New York plus Terminator. A 2 out of 10.
Ooh.
Well,
I don't like this guy.
If you can watch a movie at 2 times the speed and still get all the sense or charm out of it, this is the movie. Third rate to say the best. Overall, some special effects are not bad. Some even copy, spoof, or rival with Terminator. A few scene might even be constructed as anticipating T2. But the whole is a messy salad bowl between Mad Max post-apocalypse, survival-like gangs of dirty, juvenile thugs dressed in colorful rags, add bits and pieces of some late 1970s Escape from New York, and The Warriors. Add some out-of-place romance angle in which the principal of this school, packed with hallucinating juvenile thugs where gang warfare dominates, takes his beauty pageant and innocent daughter. The rest are Mad Max-style vehicles, frantic chases, fireworks, and confusion. Much confusion. The paper-thin plot revolves around educational defense ministry, dispatching 4 warrior machine androids to discipline a war zone high school. But things get quickly out of hand. All actors were at the time soap opera, super serial, or cable TV junk actors. So don't expect much of them. It has the fireworks of a Schwarzenegger's 1980s actioneer without the charisma. Third rate and salad bowl. Only special effects are passable. Ugh. He named everything I like.
About Malcolm McDowell and Pam Grier, I'll tell you what.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so upset. While we were on break, Pam Grier was at Ohio State University, and I didn't know. So, she was doing like a Q&A there, and I didn't know, so the event was sold out. Missed out on that. Would have been cool.
Yeah, Nate. Sometimes we tell you things and you forget.
Yeah, well, Pam Grier was 15 minutes down the road.
Third-rate actors.
That's
like you have 3 top-tier actors in this movie. Yeah, you have 3. You know,
absolutely.
6 or 7 years later, Jackie Brown was one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like, come on, seriously? Yeah, Malcolm McDowell. Yes, now Malcolm McDowell's a little ridiculous. He'll be in anything,
but he's earned that right though. I mean, really.
Stacy Keach is no slouch either. He has a strong reputation of filmmaking. He's
absolutely
there, you know,
absolutely.
I mean,
so many things, and like the acting in this movie, I really enjoyed because everyone knew what their part was and they knew how to perform at its strongest.
There's a type of acting that shows up in these B movies where like everybody's a little too loud. Like,
yeah, you know, like you mentioned that on your Night of the Demons episode where it's like their way of acting is just get louder.
Yes. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like when you try to look at a B movie through the lens that you would watch like Y Tu Mama Tambien, like, you know what I mean? Or like, you know, something like that. Like you're putting on the wrong glasses when you're watching it.
I remember when the latest Mortal Kombat movie came out and a guy was so upset with the acting. I'm like, it's a Mortal Kombat movie. Like,
right.
I was like, I remember telling him, like, what'd you expect? Like Daniel Day-Lewis to be in this? He's like, well, I would have much rather preferred that. I'm like, we all would have preferred to see Daniel Day-Lewis play Scorpion. Cause duh. But
and in the newest one, the actor who plays Scorpion is an excellent actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. This is what irritates me with these wannabe reviewers and doing this segment, because what they do is all their negatives is everything I put positive to.
That's what I love about
the
it.
entire movie.
Title.
Like the whole thing, down to Arnold-esque. I'm like, it was directed by the dude that directed Arnold in Commando.
Yeah,
so
he did one of my favorite
maybe
Arnold
there's
movies.
some influence. I don't know. God, man, these people.
Everyone's
just
entitled to their opinion, even if their opinion is shit.
Absolutely. Leo, we're getting that put on a shirt. All right.
I'll do it.
There you go. Perfect.
I was going to submit the art for it.
Well, you guys work on that behind the scenes.
Okay.
All right. Well, everything I wanted to happen from this episode, even though this has been a long time coming, has come to fruition. I got you guys on the show finally.
It will happen again.
For hackers.
for hackers is the only way I'll get them back. Although I think right now it's only Steven that said it. I don't think Leo was all that enthusiastic. He's like, thank God. Maybe he'll shut up about that movie.
I'll admit this openly, and I'm not sure I've even admitted it to Steven yet. I might have. I've never seen it.
So now we're definitely doing hackers.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. It wasn't a lack of enthusiasm. I just don't have an opinion yet.
Oh.
I had a pitch for you guys when we're done recording that we'll talk about after this as well.
We'll do
Sweet.
That. So
I would also like to take a quick moment before we wrap up to applaud
Sure.
Steven for making it through the whole episode.
Yeah, his internet, you know, he didn't get mad.
I didn't touch anything.
Totally not. And
I restarted the router.
All right. It's only had to use the technical difficulty button once. So far so good.
Just for your audience, I wish they could have I wish my audio had stuck around for that 10 minutes that I was gone, because I was like, God damn it, blah 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 blah, pulling cords and starting things over.
I like though because there was a com part. I could tell there was a com part where you call IT Leo and he's like, did you download that? Yeah, did that fix it? Well,
I love it.
That is such an insight to our relationship, like where we just sort of calm each other down every now and then.
I loved when you came back and went, I heard everything you guys said. Because it's not like this has never happened before, so we're all referencing it. And I went, this would be the greatest practical joke ever if Steven was the perfect mime, stuck, frozen. And
if he had the wherewithal to find the right button to make that happen on purpose, I would have laughed my ass off.
I would have loved it. Every bit of it.
I can barely find the number keys on this, so
don't tell him about the F12 numbers.
He calls Leo. All right, so what's my email again?
That's why I write for the show and he edits.
There we go. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming back on our inaugural return from being on vacation.
Woo!
So kind of eased us
so
back
much.
into the driver's seat. Yeah, Nate was like, we got to come back. I don't know how well we're going to sound when we come back. So we brought back up. So that is the best thing. Either of you want to pitch your show real quick? Not that no one that listens to us hasn't ever heard of you, but why don't you do it live for us?
Cool. Yeah. Leo and I are Spoils of Horror. We're a horror movie hangout show where we basically sit down each week and talk about a different movie that's lost, popular, bizarre, strange. We do cover the popular stuff, but we like going hard and we like get into some really, really esoteric territory, covering the politics, covering the jokes, covering stuff we find funny, just kind of talking about everything, just like you would with your buddy. And I don't know. We think the show's a good time.
Well, I know it is. I
would
listen
agree.
regularly. Yeah, Nate and I both do.
If anything, there's like Steven slipping into my DMs has probably been the greatest like DM slide ever.
It's always epic.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. And you know, I know it's a good show when they're like, hey, if you've never seen this movie, go watch it. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to listen to you guys first. And then I'll decide if I actually want to watch the movie, which thank God I did that with the Greasy Strangler episode, because I will never watch that movie.
That is a gift that keeps on giving.
It is. It was like that brief moment. Yeah, that brief moment of maybe I should watch the movie first. And then I listened and I went, thank God I didn't. All right, boys.
So for your audience, that movie was picked for us by another podcast.
Yes.
A great show called 100 Horrors.
Which our listeners have heard that commercial played on our show as well.
Oh, they're very funny. So they picked that for us. And it fell under... We pick different movies each week. Leo gets a week, I get a week.
Yeah.
Just like you guys.
Yeah.
So it fell on my week. And I remember watching it and calling Leo and going, they got it so perfect for us, because this is definitely the kind of movie I would have picked.
It was exactly Steven's kind of movie as well, because I ended up watching it for the first time ever going, what is this? How did this happen? Why are people making this? Which is exactly the kind of movie he tends to bring me.
Right.
And you guys sent them Q, the Winged Serpent, in return.
Love that movie.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think there was a fair trade-off, though.
I don't either.
I don't know. We're going to cover Q eventually. It's on both of our short lists. But I'll tell you this. We both liked the Greasy Strangler. It is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
But we laughed a lot during that movie.
I was just like, you guys liked it enough that I don't need to go through that. So I was like,
we still say lines from that movie all the time.
Well, sure.
I will enjoy it through your enjoyment. So that's where that goes. So
it's a
everybody,
safe bet.
That's it. So everybody, please, if you are not already listening to them, please go check them out. Go on Spotify, rate them 5 stars. It helps all of us out. Speaking of which, please go check out our show if you haven't yet. Give us 5 stars rating on Spotify. Go check us out on iTunes. You can also find us on Facebook at Give Me Back My Action Movies and Give Me Back My Horror Movies. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're on whatever comes out next. Moo, I don't know. There's new ones happening every day. I don't know. Everyone left Twitter supposedly and went to a new one. I need
a new couch, so that OnlyFans is getting closer and closer to happening.
Yeah, I mean, I've really been trying to push Nate. It's the only way we're going to get paid for ever doing this.
It's the only way I'm going to get a couch.
And a couch. So, but yeah, you can find us all there, and please go check out all the other shows on the network. You've heard them. I won't roll through it all. This episode, while long, has been enjoyable, and I'm sad for it to end. I feel like we could have talked another 30 minutes about it, but
Definitely.
we will maybe save that whenever we do the sequel at one point. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Nate, you got anything else for us, brother?
Nope. Just what's the good word, sir?
Don't forget to stretch, coach.